a touchy subject. And the only reason why I'm doing this because, you know, first, it's been a couple of people that have came to me, you know, or said some sideways stuff to me, and it's not a cause for or whatever. Really, it's not. And you know, certain things happen in my life, okay? And before all of this stuff happened in my life, I was already going through certain stuff in my life, okay? And I end up, you know, getting saved when I was kind of young, like probably like 21 years old or whatever. And I think I was like 20, but I already was reading my Bible when I was like 7, 8. I used to sneak and read at nighttime my Bible, and I'm supposed to be asleep in the bed, and I'm got the flashlight laying in my bed reading, you know, the Bible. And, you know, they do a lot of stuff. Whatever, we don't get on there, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that I came on here to talk about. And, you know, in my life, they end up targeting me and taking my kids from me. And before that, I didn't even know what a drug looked like in my whole life. And I keep on, it's certain people that be on these platforms and they be saying little stuff or whatever. And the whole time, some people really don't know the situation with my situation, you know, and I feel like it's really not called for or whatever. And until you know the truth of the situation. And hi, I had, you know, people see me going back to who I was before I started getting high. You know? And even the state also, because they didn't have nothing to adopt my kids for. I was not on drugs. You know, I had 3-bedroom house, and I was young, and I let my whole family stay with me or whatever. Did nobody help me? Hi. Did nobody help me pay none of my rent or none of that? And I was helping everybody in my house. And I was with a man that I ended up being with for years. And we ended up getting married. I didn't know what was going on. I was basically, I wasn't perfect, but however, you know, I was a girl that stayed at home, you know, read her Bible and, you know, exercise and, you know, do stuff for people. Try to help people out because I don't like to see people struggling. Put it like that. I don't like to see people struggling. So I decided to help my family out or whatever, and I end up losing my place. And when I lost my place, I had 3 kids with me. And before that, I had let my daughter go up to my mom's house, and some things had happened at my mom's house where they took my daughter from my mother. They didn't take my daughter from me. Okay? They didn't take my daughter from me. And they illegally, I didn't know nothing about the government and children's division. The lady came to my house after the courts told them that I could get my baby back. She went to another county illegally and took my daughter, basically kidnapped her while I was waiting on her to come home. Okay? So, anyway, so I had ended up getting kicked out of that house because we had to move out that house and everybody else had to move out the house. It was probably like 7 people staying with me plus my kids and their kids on top of that. Okay? So, um, so when I had to leave or whatever, my ex-husband told me he was gonna help me pay my electric bill, my rent. I mean, no, it wasn't my electric. It was my gas. It was my gas bill. Second my third chakra. It was my gas bill, and he left. I didn't know why he left, but he was like, I'm finna. Well, he told me that he was going to go work to go get some money or whatever to help me pay. I already had the other stuff paid. I paid my deposit to move in to the house or whatever, but I was on Section 8. I ended up having my Section 8 voucher. And the lady told me I had a certain amount of time to find me a place to move. Okay? So, so he told me he was going to pay them. Some of my family, they helped me on my daddy's side. They had helped me. They told me not to trust in a man because he wasn't going to do it for me, which that's speaking curses in people's life right there. That's bad word. However, I told them, no, I trust him, but he left. And he didn't come. He was at his brother's house. And I walked in on him. And he was doing something. And it made me mad because it was the last day we had to, get the money he promised me he was going to pay to help me move in. Or whatever. And I had rushed home crying and all like that. The lady called me and was like that she giving the place to somebody else. And that same day, I lost my whole voucher and I had 3 kids. And like I was helping people. On top of that, my daughter was already in foster care and they kidnapped her. Basically, the state did. They had no reason to do that. Wasn't no drugs, none of that. Taking care of my kids had food, helping everybody or whatever. And I had to move. And when I had to move, everybody went their own way and got their own self a house. And I was left with nowhere to go after helping my family out. And that left me with my ex-husband, and we end up start going down to the homeless shelter downtown, St. Louis, where I'm from. And we started going down there, and then I had end up started putting us in hotels and stuff like that. Then I end up going to a shelter. From there, the shelter had end up kicking me out because I was helping every day, like I go meet up with my ex-husband or whatever, and I go help him, and a situation happened or whatever at this. Well, I had went to go meet up with him, and it was time for me to make it to curfew. So I ended up getting on the bus, and I had gave him some money already, because he asked me could he get some money or whatever. I already got 3 kids with me. So I gave him some of the money, and I got on the bus. He followed me, and I'm not trying to down nobody, none of that. I'm just telling y'all, what's on my heart and mind. So I had ended up rushing on the bus, so he had followed me. It was like that he ended up spending the money, and that he needed some more money. And I was like, dang, I just gave you some money. I got kids or whatever. So I get on the bus or whatever. He get on there with me. I told him he couldn't follow me because I was in a domestic shelter. But I couldn't miss curfew. If I missed curfew, I was going to get put out or whatever. So he ended up following me and stood at in the middle of the street while I walked into the shelter. And I had went in. And before I went in, I told him, do not follow me. And when I went in, I was upstairs with my kids, and we was getting ready, and somebody knocked on the door, and the alarm had went off at the shelter, and it was him at the door, and he got me kicked out or whatever, and we end up going to a hotel. I had got kicked out or whatever, and I had end up getting in the cab, and he already had the cab waived and everything, and I was the one that was paying for the cab. So we had ended up going to a hotel. He asked me to give him some money, and he told me that he was finna buy he was finna put down on a house He found the house and he was going to go get a money order and whatever. And he used God. He was like, if you believe in Jesus, you will give me the money or whatever. And I'm like, it's super late. Why would you go to the store and go get a money order so late? So he started using God. So I had end up, I had, hi, I'm doing okay. Thank you. So I had end up, uh, 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 um, the cat. Okay, I had end up giving him the money or whatever. And when I gave him the money, thank you. So when I had gave him the money, he had got up and like my kids was sitting down eating pizza, and I was on the bed with my daughter. She was 4 months, and I had just got done breastfeeding her. And he got up and started putting his hands on me, and was like started like abusing me in front of my kids, and my kids started crying and stuff. And he said he was done with me, and I ain't trying to talk about nobody or with them, just telling my story. Because, some people, they be like, oh, this, I'm talking about the people that I know. Be like, you talked about me real bad, and I'm just telling my story or whatever. But anyway, so I was like, that's all the money y'all got. Why would you take all my money or whatever, and you just got us kicked out of a hotel? He like, BB, this and this and that. He like, I don't want to be with you, F you, with this and that, push me everything. My baby's that crying, got a 4-month-old, just had a baby. So I had the people came knocking on the door at the hotel, at the Super 8, St. Louis, the hotel. And he had ended up walking past something, see, she acting crazy. And I'm like, no, he got my money. That's all the money that we have. And I had asked the lady to call the police to stop him so I could get my money from him. And I had the other lady, she told me she was going to watch my kids. Thank you. Thank you. So she told me that she was going to watch my kids while I made sure that he didn't leave with my money until the police got there. And once the police got there, we was like halfway down the street. My kids was at the hotel with the lady, which that was wrong or whatever, me leaving my kids at that hotel like that. However, that was all that we had at the time. And I was trying to make sure we got it. I got my money back from him. And when the police got there, they ended up putting me in the back of the police car and putting him in the back of the police car. And he's like, you're going. I said, why are you putting me in the back of the police car? I just called you to help me with him. And like, ma'am, you disgusting. Get in the court. We lock you up for child abandonment. So anyway, they had end up getting a lawsuit against them or whatever. And they locked me up, and he was like, I'm gonna make sure you get 10 years. You disgust me, and all like that stuff. And I heard my baby crying. They ended up taking my baby to the police station, and I breastfeed my baby. So I had end up asking him, could I breastfeed my baby? And he was like, no. He like just was talking real bad. Then my ex-husband was in the other cell calling me out my name, bees and this and that. Like I'm sitting here getting abused by these, the police and my ex-husband. And I'm the one that called for help. So anyway, they sent me to a psych ward that night because it hurted me to hear my baby cry and I couldn't feed my baby. And they was taking my baby from me. It was just too much, overwhelming. So when I had got out, I had to go back and get all my stuff, whatever. I didn't have my kids, none of that. They was gone or whatever. And as time went on, I started fighting for my kids. Didn't get on drugs, none of that. Went to every visit. I probably missed a couple of visits. Probably like I missed a couple of them or whatever. But however, I used to try to get there no matter what. I even literally, like, we was on a bus and like we was straight in the middle of a bus car accident, and I caught a cab to get to court from the bus. I had to literally call I think it was Lyft, and it was my first time ever using Lyft, so I got that free ride that day. That was a blessing. That's how I made it or whatever. And every day I drop cleaning this and that or whatever, and did everything I was supposed to do. Went to my psych doctor, took the little shot medicine and all that stuff they was telling me to take. And one day I went to court and they told me that they was adopting my kids. and to sign my rights over for no reason. Oh, thank you. And they said they told me to sign my rights over, and I told them no. So they end up locking me up from the court, the children's court. I got locked up, and they was like, "Do you want to say bye to your kids?" I'm like, "Why would I want to say bye to my kids for the last time? Like I ain't even do nothing. Do y'all have?" They wouldn't even let me talk in the court. They told me when I'm in the court, I shut up. I couldn't say nothing. They didn't even want to give me. They didn't even want to put me on stand because they said I have a speech impediment, so I can't speak up for myself. I'm not going to understand what's going on. So I had to be quiet the whole time, couldn't say nothing, and let them people they adopted my kids out. And I went to jail, and then when I got out, it was like a couple of months, probably some years that went past, and then I was with my ex-husband, and he revealed to me that he get high and stuff, and I got curious. It was my fault. I chose to. That's when I started getting high. I chose to get high, and so he, you know, rolled a joint up, and I started smoking or whatever. And then after that, we were just getting high every day and this and that. And I had another baby. I didn't have nowhere to take my baby. We was homeless on the street or whatever. And I told the nurse at the hospital, I told her, I said, I don't have nowhere to take my child to. I said, we homeless on the street, and I let them know that I don't have nowhere to take my baby or whatever. In the shelters, they had one shelter that I had ended up getting kicked out of when I was pregnant or whatever. And that was in Illinois, Belleville. I was in Belleville, and I got kicked out of the shelter. And I told the nurse, I said, I don't have nowhere to take my baby, which that's the normal thing to do. Instead of taking your baby out to the street where, that's a safe haven for babies if you ain't got nowhere to take them. And I let the lady know that I don't have nowhere to take her. And after that, or whatever, they was trying to see did I have somewhere to go, and I was trying to tell them I don't, or whatever. And I had met a friend out there, whatever. I met a friend. I don't know if he on here right now. Hi. And he was helping me out when I was pregnant with her. So he know that I was homeless with nowhere to go and stuff like that. So I had end up after that started getting high or whatever again. And then what happened? We had moved to Springfield. No, we had met this other person named Ellis, my mom. I met Ellis out there through him, and we was all out there chilling. We was staying there, and I get pregnant. I think I was end up getting pregnant again. I got some kids. I got 11 kids. No, I got 10 kids. I'm tripping. I don't know where the 11 came from. Well, I got 10 kids, and yeah, and we was staying with Ellis, and I was going to work. Before I had moved with Ellis, I was staying downtown in the elevator in the snow. It was cold. My ex-husband ended up going to jail or whatever, and I was left pregnant or whatever and sleeping in the elevator. And I ended up getting up, finding me 2 jobs. And every day I would sleep in the elevator, get up, and go to work. And then I got another job, so I have somewhere to be at nighttime when it's cold. So I had 2 jobs. I was working at Mercy's Hospital, and I was working at Walmart. And I was working up there. I wasn't getting high, nothing, drug-free, and, stuff like that. And I was going to work, and I went in labor at work. And my ex-husband got out of jail, ended up getting out of jail or whatever, and they took my baby. I was going to work and everything, saving up. I had everything. I ended up moving with my cousin or whatever, and I rented out a room, and I was staying with my cousin. And when it was time for me to give birth to my baby or whatever, they took my baby 2 days at out the hospital. His name was Savalis. And uh, I was super sad. I couldn't get out the bed. I was in the bed for a whole month. They took my baby when I was in the hospital. When my ex-husband there, he was literally telling the people I was in after I gave birth to my baby. He was taking pictures of our son and sending it to a woman that we met at church. We had met a woman at church, and he was sitting there texting her while I was in the while I was in there holding my baby and feeding my baby or whatever. And he was like, "This don't look like me. Look at this. This nasty. This ain't my baby." And he was like, "Come up here or whatever. Come support me or whatever. This ain't my baby." Blah blah blah. Then he was telling the nurses, talking about some talking about, oh, she don't have a baby bed. Like, he didn't know that I was listening to him. And for people always try to say somebody playing victim, I'm not playing victim. I'm telling you my story. And if you, oh, God know the truth. It is what it is. However, so I'm all thinking I'm finna go home with my son, and the lady, she like, they already did his shots and checked him and all of that stuff and whatever. And I had got myself together or whatever, and moved in with my cousin, and I was ready to take him home. I had him at Mercy's Hospital, St. Mary's. It was St. Mary's and Mercy's. I had him at right. I had him at St. Mary's. Yeah, I was staying with my cousin. Ended up moving with my cousin. My cousin let me stay with him. And yeah, so he was telling the people that stuff, and I was hearing him talk about it, but he didn't know that I was hearing. But I'm thinking like, okay, let me. I didn't have. That's the only thing I didn't have was a baby bed, but I had the money to get it, cause I was working or whatever. So he tell the people or whatever that I didn't have nothing for my baby. After I went to work 24/7, working to make sure that my baby had everything. And I even went in labor at work. Went in labor at work. I had went in labor at Walmart. I had went in labor at Walmart. And the manager at Walmart ended up promoting me to the assistant supervisor at Walmart. So I was really making some money. Thank you. So I was really making some money. And so anyway, they ended up when they took my baby, I was like, before they took my baby, they was like, we gotta go send your baby, we gotta go do one more test on your baby. And I'm like, y'all just told me y'all was done with the test, running the test or whatever. So they like, no, we have to do one more, we forgot. So I'm like, well, can I come? They like, oh, sure. So as I was following or whatever, I just had a baby. So, like when you push out the baby, it hurts. So I'm all trying to walk with them. I'm pushing the baby. They grabbed my baby and put my baby in a room. Put my baby in the room or whatever. And then I'm like, why y'all taking my baby or whatever? And they like, no, actually, I didn't even use drugs yet. I'm tripping. That was when I had started using drugs after that. I'm tripping. Savalas was after Adrian. So Savalas, I wasn't even on drugs yet. I'm tripping. And I was going to work and all of that stuff or whatever. And my apologies. I had to think and whatever. God my witness. I'm not finna sit here and lie. And God my witness. Whatever. That was an accident. No, they adopted my kids. They adopted my kids out. That's what I was telling you. They end up adopting like all my children out. And I wasn't even on drugs yet. And that's why I end up turning into drugs or whatever. They had, when I was leaving the hospital with Savalas, he telling me to shut up and forget about it. Stop crying. What you crying for? I just carried a baby for 9 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? It's a part of me. Well, I'm not supposed to be sad. And my baby, the part of me is gone. Now I feel empty or whatever. And then that's when I had ended up turning into drugs. I'm tripping. I was in Illinois and all like that. And then I had ended up getting pregnant and stuff by him. All his kids, all my kids, I got 2 kids by somebody else before him. And we were supposed to get married and we didn't get married. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, so I had where was I at? Yeah, so we had ended up even getting a DNA test, but I didn't get I wasn't on drugs yet. I had ended up getting on drugs after that. He had ended up meeting to me after they had adopted my kids. I wasn't on drugs when before I had Savalas, or I had ended up getting on drugs like way after Savalas was born. In Jesus' name, seriously. So so after that, that's when I told y'all a story about we was we was at a friend house, his friend, and that's when I started being curious about the drugs. That was after or whatever. And then we were just getting high, whatever. And I had ended up having getting pregnant with my daughter or whatever. And I had gave birth to her. And after I had gave birth to her, we had ended up started getting high again. And I was getting high, like, where I had my baby over, like, around drugs and stuff like that. And we had ended up going to he had ended up leaving or whatever, leaving the house or whatever, because the situation happened with my cousin and me and him. And my cousin told him to leave the house or whatever. Leave the house. My cousin told me to leave the house. My cousin actually told him to stop putting his hands on me or whatever. If he get mad, just leave the house or whatever, or like put his hands around my throat or choke me so don't punch me or whatever. And we had ended up getting into an argument, and he accidentally kind of like pushed me, and like my head kind of like hit the corner of the thing or whatever. So he got scared because my cousin came to the house with a gun, and was because he knocked my teeth out and stuff like that or whatever. And that's why my cousin came or whatever, because he was kind of being abusive a little bit to me or whatever. And we had a baby there, but so he had ended up leaving or whatever. So my dad came to get me. I think it was on Valentine's Day, and I was at the house or whatever, and my daddy came. It was snow on the ground. This was our last Valentine's Day we had with our daughter. And while we was at the hotel, we had went to the hotel. We had our baby at the hotel, and we were getting high in the motel with my child. And I had ended up like feeling like super, like I started feeling bad or whatever. And I told him, like, every time I looked at my daughter's face or whatever, every time I looked at my daughter's face, I felt convicted. You know what I'm saying? Like God was like it's just something was like, look at your baby face, and like she was just looking at me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do this no more. And I end up telling him, I'm like, let's try to get clean for the baby. And he like, yeah, we could do that or whatever, but let's do it when we both ready to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm ready to do it now or whatever. And that whole night or whatever, I'm like, I don't want to get hot. So that whole night he was, it kind of might seem like too much or whatever, but he was like getting dope on credit. And I was just sitting in the room with my baby, and I was like, I'm done. Like, he was like, you want this? And I'm like, no, I don't want it. Like I was just sitting there just chilling with my baby while he was getting high and stuff. And usually, like, he would count on me to, help him or whatever with whatever he was doing or whatever. So he ended up that he kept on getting out, and I told him, I said, I'm not paying for none of that. I don't even know where you finna get some money to pay for that. And then he was like, just stayed getting high. So he ended up giving me some beer. He was like, just chill out quick. Just chill out, quit acting like that or whatever. We gonna stop getting, I'm gonna stop getting high, whatever, when I'm ready to get high and this and that. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. And so, wow. He was sitting up there getting high. He had told me to drink his, he used to drink 211s. So he ended up, yeah, I'm sober now. I've been sober for like 3 years. Going on 3 years now. But I had end up, probably longer than that. Probably been longer than that. Because it's 2005. It's been more than 3 years. But it just seems short. It's weird. But I stopped counting. When you stop getting high, you stop counting. Like when you really done, you stop counting the years. Like it's just like, it's not a part of my life to count no more. Thank you. So I had ended up drinking his beer. And like I got so tired. Like I was so tired. I don't know if it's because I was like not getting high. But I was getting high before I had chose to stop. Like the day before. And I was just tired, and I had drunk some of his beer or whatever, and I passed out. And when I woke up, I had woke up to my baby like crying, like ah. She was in her chair, and he was getting in the bed, and my pants was off, and I'm like, what you doing? And he like, oh, I'm taking a picture of you. He like, I just let a whole bunch of the hotel niggas in the hotel came in here and had sex with you. He like, why you ain't feel nothing. He like, you a hoe, you nasty, this and that. And I was on the phone with my sister, cause I had texted my sister the night before. I wasn't getting high that night or the next day, and I was on the phone texting my sister like, man, can you come get me? I really, this don't feel right. I want to do right by my daughter or whatever. And that morning, I was on the phone with my sister or whatever, and like, that freaked me out because you had to, you was doing that, getting high or whatever, and I wasn't, and then I went to sleep, and then you telling me that you did that to me, and he was like, I'll show you some pictures, and then like, he had me like, all like this, and I was naked, and he was taking pictures of my private part. That's why I don't send pictures or whatever, because I don't trust that anymore. He smoked pictures of me or whatever while I was asleep, and I'm like, no, I'm like, why would you, I'm like, just come get me, like, he literally told me that that's what he did, and then, like, when my sister was texting me, like, don't even say I'm coming to get your stuff, and I'm finna pick y'all up. So my sister got there, she started banging on our door, because the hotel, you can't get in without a key, because where we was at, it was kind of, So, I had ended up getting me and my baby stuff or whatever, trying to get all of it and putting it in there. And he was like, and I'm not trying to blame nobody. I have to say that because I've been going through some things or whatever, and God teaching me to not try to blame people, because at first, like I was, and then God was telling me, like, like you don't really know, or this and that, or whatever. You can't just treat people like you that's what they did. However, but when I was leaving, he was throwing my sleep like, you leaving me? And I'm like, yeah, I told you I'm done with this. And I had grabbed my baby, and he was like, okay, well, by tomorrow, he said, you and the baby gonna be dead. And I'm like, only God got the last say so if we live or die. Or whatever. And yeah, and I had my sister ended up meeting us in the little area or whatever, and some other dudes came out because he was literally in there, like I was on the top of the bed and like trying to fight me and trying to choke me before I even got out the door. I had like literally had to grab my baby and run out. And some other dudes had to come and get my baby stuff, whatever. He ended up throwing them out or whatever. And and that's why I say I did stuff in my life. I was wrong for the things that I did do. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to change, like God convicted my heart. Yeah, like I care about my baby. I love my baby, and I feel like, excuse me, digging my nose, trying to, get it right for her. Like, out of all my kids, like, my other kids was taken. I wasn't even on drugs or whatever. And I ended up getting on drugs. And I chose to get clean. Started getting clean for her. And when I went home, certainly when I went home, my sister ended up dropping the babies. My sister came back to the house and dropped my babies off at home. And she left, and my brother was there, my mama was there, my two nieces, me, and my baby. That night when we was there, we was all having fun, whatever. They was dancing to the music and playing with the baby and doing normal stuff or whatever. And while before we was going to sleep, I was just in the room chilling with the kids. They ended up laying down at the top of my bed or whatever, and I was just chilling and laying down. And it didn't happen. Yeah, so I was laying down and I was he had text my phone and he was like, cause the kids was before they was laying down, they was dancing over the floor, like they was like jumping, like when the kids dance and play, they be loud. And he texted my phone, was like, you nasty, you up there having sex. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, where you at? He like, I'm downstairs. He said, with your nasty this and that. He like, watch this. He like, don't go to sleep. Like he started threatening. I'm like, if you downstairs, you come up here and see that there's no one here. He's on some, yes, probably not, they not there now or whatever, but they was. I just heard you. You was moaning and this and that, hurt the bed. And I'm like, no, you did not. You tripping. You did not hurt the bed none of that. Like we upstairs just chilling or whatever. Now the kids, we was having fun. The kids running around. So my mama ended up cooking or whatever. Somebody cooked, and um we was in there eating or whatever. Me and my baby and my nieces before they end up going to sleep. They brought us some plates. My brother and my mama had brought us some plates to eat. I remember that it was like cabbage, fish. It was cabbage, fish, and something else. And we was all eating or whatever. And I heard the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I heard. But yeah, so we was all eating or whatever. Then after we had got done eating, I remember I was just super tired. I don't know if it was because I was like not getting high or something like that, but I was like just tired. So my mom, I'm not trying to blame you either. I know you watching. What? But you were trying to tell me, okay, let me slow down. So my mom came in there, and I'm not trying to put nothing on nobody. I'm not trying to make nobody look like something or nothing like that. My mom had ended up coming in there. Me and my mom, we used to be get high partners and stuff like that. And she, so, anyways, so my mom had ended up coming in there, and she was like, I was like laying down, and like I used to cuddle with my baby like this, like I used to like have her like this, like how you like V shape. I had her like cuddled like that, and my mom came in there. She was like, um, could you give me some money? And I'm like, no, mom. I'm like, what you need some money for anyway? She's like then I'm like, mom, I said I'm done getting high. Like I'm not finna do none of that. I'm trying to chill or whatever with my baby and this and that. Like y'all don't understand. Like I'm done. Like seriously, I'm done. I'm doing this for her. Like I literally made a promise to God that I wasn't going to get high anymore. Like I made a promise. I said, Father God, I'm not gonna get high no more. I'm gonna make sure my daughter is cool, and I'm gonna do this with my daughter. And I told her no. I made a promise to God, and I was done or whatever. And I had end up. She told me before she walked out the room. She said, "You gonna regret." She said, "You gonna regret it that you said no to me. And that's the honest truth. My mama said I'm gonna that same night. She told me that I was gonna regret telling her no about giving her money to go get what she wanted to, whatever. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I just had a bad feeling. It was weird. And I just had a bad feeling. I had ended up praying. I asked God to, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that my baby's safe while I sleep because I can't watch her while she sleep or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch her while I'm asleep. So I had end up, drifting off to sleep. And when I had drifted off to sleep, I felt like I was like laying on her or whatever. And like I was like this, and like my face was like on the side of her face or whatever. And then I heard like some say, "Move, you kind of close." And then like I was like kind of still laying there. Then I had like popped up because I was so tired, and I looked, and then she looked like she was cool. Like I checked her and everything. And then like I had flipped her around, and put her in the middle of the bed. And I turned back around like this, where the kids, I put her like in the middle of the bed. It was all, I had a big old bed, it was like a king size bed. So I had put her in the middle of the bed, and then I had woke up because I was trying to make sure like my nieces and uh lay on her. I had ended up getting up in the middle of the night, and I had went and made her a bottle too, and I had came back in the room. I had fed her and stuff, burped her or whatever. But I was so tired, like I was like literally like halfway woke, tired, and had burped her or whatever. So I had ended up laying back down, and as I was asleep, I don't even remember that part. I was so tired. God, my witness. I don't remember that part at all. All I remember was I had, before I went back to sleep, I kissed my baby on the cheek. And then I had kind of laid, drifted back off. I checked her and drifted back off. She did not look like she was not. She didn't look like she wasn't breathing. I mean, she didn't look like she was not breathing. She looked like she was breathing. And she yeah. So I had ended up kissing her, went back to sleep, and what woke me up was I heard somebody, they hit their foot, like they was like trying to run out the room. It was weird, but this is what my dream was playing. I was halfway woke and halfway asleep, and what woke me up was somebody like kind of like boomped their foot or whatever, and I'm like, who is that? And they didn't come. Oh, thank you, St. Louis. So they didn't come out when I asked who it was. They didn't come out the bathroom. They stayed in the bathroom. Whoever it was, they stayed in the bathroom. So, and I tried to sit up there and wait. Some I should have just got up to see who it was in the bathroom. But somehow I didn't. I went like, cause I was tired. God is my witness. I don't like just sleepy, like sleepy. Like I didn't took like a sleeping pill or something, but I didn't take no sleeping pill. I was just super tired, and uh, they woke me up or whatever. Whoever that was, I don't know what happened. Whoever that was, they ran from my room, cause my room, then it was the bathroom, the door. They ended up bumping their foot and running inside the bathroom and standing there until I fell asleep. And by the time I woke up, when I woke up, I was waking up to get my baby, go get her milk and stuff. But when I had looked, I was like when you wake up, your eyes be kind of blurry. That's what it was. And I had woke up and I had looked like this, and then I looked down and I seen like white stuff on her nose, and I'm like, that's when I had ended up picking my baby up, and I had went to go look for my mom. And when I ran out the door, I panicked because like my baby's not breathing, like she was just lumped or whatever, and like I'm trying to run through the house to look for my mom and stuff. And first, before I even did that, I tried to do CPR on my baby laying on the bed, but I couldn't. I didn't know how to do it. Like I didn't know how to like do it. So I end up rushing. I screamed for my mom, and I kicked the door open in the bathroom because I remember I seen somebody go in the bathroom, and when I had ran to the bathroom, the door was closed by the time I woke up. And but when I kicked the door with my baby, because I had my baby in my hand, I had like kicked the door in with my foot. I'm like, Mama, help me. And then I look with nobody in the bathroom. So I had end up turning around. My mom left the front door open, or somebody left the front door open, and she had left all her stuff sitting on the floor or whatever in our living room, but she wasn't there. So I ended up running upstairs to my brother. I screamed for my brother, and I was like, St. Louis. I was like, um, brother, help me, please. I'm like, Dub, help me, my baby not breathing. He like, what? I'm like, the baby not breathing. He like, you want me to call the ambulance? I said, yeah, call the ambulance. So ended up calling the ambulance, and I started trying to do CPR. They was telling me how to do the CPR or whatever on my baby. And while I was trying to do it, that's when I felt my baby skin like get cold. And so I had ended up like the ambulance grabbed my baby, and like that's when they did all that stuff. And that's when I was like, I didn't even know what God to pray to. Like I was in the ambulance, and I was like, in Jesus' name. I was just calling on all the gods because like I wanted God to hear me. So I had end up. They told me that they had end up bringing my baby back. Like they got a heartbeat. So when we got to the hospital, they told me that that's when she had passed away at the hospital. And I was there at the hospital by myself. I was calling my brother. I was calling my brother. No, I had I got it to my brother that on the way out to the ambulance because like I didn't understand like what I'm saying. I don't know. I got it to him because it was weird how I woke up to my baby like that, like because I had laid her right here and I turned my back on her. And then when I turned back around when I was asleep, I was trying to keep an eye on her, and I was trying to make sure I wouldn't lay on her, and then I was trying to watch them, and I don't know, I just felt like upset with everybody, or whatever, and, I was trying to call people, like I tried to call my ex-husband, or whatever, I don't even remember everything, he had, played me a voicemail or whatever, and they tried to say that it was a homicide. They tried to say that I did something to my daughter. What am I getting out of doing something to my child for? What am I getting out of that? God see things like that. And I love my babies. For real. I decided to literally leave, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though I did make a promise to God, yeah, I did make a promise to God. You know? I did. And that's what I've been trying to do, even though that situation happened to me. In that situation, I didn't understand why they happened like that or whatever. To not just me, to my daughter. She have her own. She have her own little personality. She had her own life. You know what I'm saying? Like she herself. And I didn't understand that, and I knew that, and I knew that she needed a mama that was gonna care for her. And when I did want to do that, that happened to my baby and stuff like that, and I just felt like, you know, I just felt like I don't know. It just felt like the devil. It was the devil seeing that I was trying to literally get clean and stuff, and I've been trying to get clean. I had end up like literally couldn't get high or whatever, and yeah, but that's what happened to my baby. And keep on, I didn't heard like a couple of people, you know what I'm saying? Like when my baby, like his family, my ex-husband family, whatever, was accusing me of killing my baby. And then I had people just doing stuff trying to accuse me of my own baby, killing my baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. That's crazy work. For real. And people don't understand, like, you wouldn't even give me a chance to even, like, that's my baby. I carried her in my stomach. When I gave birth to her, I took care of her. Made sure I protected her, even though I did slip and start getting high, yeah. And that's where I made a mistake at. That's where I made a mistake, and I take responsibilities for that. You know, I take responsibilities for that. People make mistakes all the time, and people keep on saying hi. People keep on. I'm from St. Louis. Hi, but people like to this day be like, "Oh, what you smoking crack?" or "You this and that." Like that's years ago. That's who I used to be. Like the people that, like my ex-husband, there's certain people, they be like, "Oh, what you smoking crack?" Like, like I'm not smoking crack. When I left the hotel, you know what I'm saying? Like, done with that. So why that's what made me even talk about it. And I keep on, people just, keep on picking and picking. Like, people, you don't really know the story until you sit there and listen or whatever to it. Because I talk to God all the time, and God have a I love God. I love God. And God love me. And like I told, like people that I'm like, and we end up, me and my ex-husband end up getting into it again, because I was like, I'm not going to accuse nobody, because I know how I feel to be accused when you ain't do nothing. So I started looking at him like, I apologize, because he did say he was, being a baby was going to be dead by tomorrow. And they accused me of it, and then I'm like, I just had to look at it. It was weird, but it was just like I started feeling like I see how I feel to be grieving whatever over a baby, and somebody is saying, "Oh, you did that to your baby." So I'm like, I apologize for accusing you of doing something, but it's just like hard to trust people after all that stuff happened in that time. Like all that stuff ended up happening in that time, or whatever, and who to trust, you know? And yeah, so I'm just telling y'all my story about my kids or whatever. And another situation happened with my son, and that's why I be saying like people been targeting me all that with my kids, and then they try to use the fact that some like I shouldn't even turn to drugs. Like if you ain't getting, like you going through a whole bunch of stuff, you ain't ever got high, don't ever get high, because and you going through a situation like that, because they gonna try to use that against you to make themselves seem right. Because when I started getting high, I was getting, I wasn't, before I was getting, before they took my kids, I wasn't getting high. In all period. I end up getting on drugs. Crack is a hard drug to beat, and I'm proud of myself. And I made a promise to God, like, even though, like, I relapsed, God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying, you know, uh, me and God have a conversation all the time, and people know that that's sensitive to me, and they try to use it, but it's to the point where if God know my heart, and if God see that he see that I'm keeping my promise to him, he gonna keep his promise to me too, cause then God taught I done seen two rainbows. And my baby was a rainbow baby. My baby Ivan, he was a rainbow. Like when my baby had ended up passing away, I was pregnant, 3 months pregnant with him, and I was not on drugs with him at all. Period. I was sober, clean, and I gave birth to my baby and brought my baby home. And I had somebody around. I wouldn't let nobody come around my son. And finally, I had end up letting somebody end up. I had let somebody come around my son or whatever, and I didn't know that. I told him not to have no fentanyl or whatever. I had end up relapsing. Oh, I had relapsed at my apartment, and then I had end up stopped getting high. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I wouldn't let him come to like my sister, like he'll come and get the my son or whatever. And I had end up like stopping. It's weird, like that's why I say like we do get karma for stuff. Like I had end up stopping, getting high, and the dude that I wouldn't let this dude come around me, like we were just friends. And he just kept on coming over, like throwing rocks at my window, trying to talk to me and whatever. And I like we'll just like take walks and stuff. I wouldn't let him come in my apartment. because I had nice stuff. And I had took a walk with him and whatever, and we used to just walk and talk and stuff like that. Go to the store, walk, whatever, around the neighborhood. I had ended up calling my ex-husband. My bad, my live had went out. But anyways, I had I left my keys in my apartment. I had left my keys in my apartment or whatever, and they had to kick my door in. The maintenance man upstairs, Paul, and before that, he told me that my ex-husband brought fentanyl, which I did not tell him don't bring that around in my apartment because I have my son there. Oh, that's what the Paul was telling me that he had. I didn't even know he had it, but that's what was said or whatever. And he okay, he had ended up coming downstairs telling me like, "Are you with? Do you still with your ex-husband?" I was like, "No, we end up getting into it." Oh, there was something happened on my birthday to where we had ended up getting into an argument or whatever, and I had we stopped talking to each other, and they adopted my kids out, and then they be keeping my kids from me. They been keeping my kids from me before I was. That's why I be telling people I was home. Oh, you getting out like stop trying to use that. Like if you saying I'm getting out, that's what you want me to do. I made a promise to God. I made a promise to my baby. I made a promise to myself. Not just I have to make a promise for myself to want it. And I said I wasn't ever getting high again. Cause like I said, we make mistakes. I made a mistake. And yeah, and I was wrong for even getting high. And it was my decision to get high. Well, it's just a point. Like everybody sitting here don't point the fingers at me like, oh, you because I'm clean and I'm back to who I'm saying, like read my Bible and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm back to not getting high. I'm not doing none of that stuff, and it's been years since I stopped getting high. And every time when somebody come around, if they don't like what they heard or they can't control me, that's when they want to bring up the, oh, you a crackhead, or oh, you a this, or what about this, or what about that. But you don't hear me saying, oh, what about this, until you try to point a finger at me, you know, or try to accuse me, oh, you killed your baby. No, I did not kill my baby at all. Period. I was leaving to get her away from that type of stuff. Yes, I'm wrong for having her at the hotel. I shouldn't have had her there. I wasn't thinking. None of us was thinking. I'll be saying that because we was all having a dope fiend mentality. That's how we was thinking. It was the drugs that was controlling our thoughts and stuff like that. So, yeah. That's just the point. I don't sit there and keep on bringing it up. People keep coming to me about it. You keep on telling, oh, you crackhead, or you this, or you that, you killed your baby, or you the reason why your kids and this and that. People don't know my story for real. Like I'm not the reason. I'm probably the reason why now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not probably yeah. I'm probably the reason now. I left one of my babies at the hospital because I didn't have nowhere to take my baby. I didn't have nowhere to take her. I wasn't even getting high when I left my baby at the hospital. I wasn't even getting high. I started getting high. It was Savalas and then Jasmine. Then I was getting high. And then I had ended up leaving my baby or whatever at the hospital. And yeah. And I have made some mistakes. And like I said, we was all operating out of getting high. And I was one of the ones that wanted to not. My little baby, she touched my heart for real. She made me want to like stop. That's what made me. That was one of the reasons why I chose to get clean. Was my daughter, and that's what I wanted to do, and it was like that's when, yeah, I started like attacks. That situation happened and accusation and this and that, and then everybody just is everything. It was crazy. It was crazy, and everybody was pointing fingers and all at me and all of that stuff. And then I had asked my husband. I said, why you sitting here saying that I killed my baby? You know I love my kids. That's the thing. Like you know that I wouldn't do nothing like that or drug my son. And I forgot. I was talking about something else. My end up so with my son, I had ended up going to sleep and the dude left, and someone was like, cause the Holy Spirit be talking to me. Like I have been having gifts or whatever since I was a kid, and like as I was asleep, like literally someone was like, wake up, like literally like wake up. People like, oh you crazy when you say that, but I'm not. That's not like I literally like the Holy Spirit woke me up out my sleep, and I like it was weird because it was like I was woke and I was asleep, and somehow I don't know what it was. I like seen my baby by the door, but I was asleep. It was kind of weird. And when I had opened my eyes and I had ran straight to the door where my son was at the front door. I found my son laid on. I'm thinking he fell. I'm thinking he was playing and stuff, and he was like I thought he was playing and fell asleep at the front door. And when I was like, what you doing over here? And like I'm like, you straight fell asleep. When I picked my son up, that's when I seen my son was like, like that or whatever, like eyes and stuff going cross-eyed and stuff like that, and like that really, really made me like that really like on top of my baby passing away, her passing away, and then on top of that, they hurt like that, like literally like that took me, seeing that, seeing my baby gone, and then on top of that, seeing that going on with my son, that hurt it, you know, and yeah, that hurt it or whatever. And I'm grateful that like I had prayed, ended up praying to God or whatever for my son. I'm grateful that my son, did not pass away or whatever. And did my hair follicles and all of that stuff. And they end up giving my son to my ex husband instead of me. And he was, other stuff. I'll be trying not to say too much. I'll be talking to it. But yeah, and yeah, I didn't even know that my son had drugs in his system. Like I'm thinking like you know how when kids like play and stuff, I'm thinking like he can like like he found a penny or something, and was chewing on it, like under the couch. And I'm thinking like I didn't even know he had drugs in his system. I thought he had like, uh, yeah, some in his mouth, like his throat. I found my son by the front door, and when I had picked my son up, ran him outside, or whatever, the people was coming from outside, and I begged the man to help me with my son because I remember what happened with my daughter. And uh, when the autopsy came back, they told because I felt like did I like I felt like I had did something to my baby. I felt like I had did something to my baby or something because I was asleep, and I had, you know, and the lady she was like, no, you didn't. We looked and did that, did the full autopsy and stuff, and they told me that she had neuroblastoma or whatever. She had cancer, and but I asked them, so is that how she died? And they was like, no, we don't know how she died. That's what they told me, that they don't know how she passed away, but she had neuroblastoma. And I'm like, what you mean you don't know how my baby passed away? Like, you should know that. And I asked her, I said, did do it show any signs that I lay on her? Because I felt like I end up laid on her. For real, I felt like I laid on her in my sleep. And and the lady was like, no, you didn't lay on her. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I told him that. And he tried to use that, he tried to bring that up to try to hurt me or whatever. But however, in my heart, I know that did make mistakes with my daughter. However, I wouldn't do that to my child. I love my kids, for real. And I made mistakes by bringing her around the drugs. I can sit here and admit that I was wrong. I brought my daughter and stuff. It was drugs going on. After a while, I ended up getting high and stuff, and started getting high. I mean, I was going through all of that, and I was getting high and stuff. That's what I did wrong, or whatever. And yeah, and I feel bad about that, or whatever. But it's a lot of people that always keep on, you know, try to use that against me because they know I don't know why they're doing it. I'm just trying to make up an excuse of why people do that. I'm trying to make up an excuse for why they be, oh, pointing like, oh, you crackhead, or oh, you the reason why I'm gonna send you to jail for the murder of my baby and all of that stuff. Like, what? Like, I can't even, you like, grieve and heal from all of that. I'm not going around pointing fingers and this and that. Oh, oh, oh. At first, and what for real, people was saying stuff like before that happened. My ex-husband was saying he gonna do this and that to me and my baby. You know, I could have been like, you, you. I don't even do that. I still to this day apologize to him. Be like, oh, I wish I could have did something better. I apologize because I messed up. I was getting high and this and that, and I failed to protect my child. You know, I don't sit there and text somebody when you mad and you don't like hearing what I'm responding and saying. You don't like that, so you want to start talking. So you crackhead or you getting high? Yeah, you is. Like, like what? I'm not. Where did that even come from? Like, why are you bothering me? Oh, you just so godly. How you so godly and you sitting there lying? I'm not lying at all. Period. And I'm proud of myself that came this far. I'm proud of myself because crack is a strong drug to beat. People don't people don't get off of drugs. Crack. It's certain people you gotta be a strong person to do that. And I'm proud of myself that I did it. God, not just by myself. God delivered me for real. When I was ready, I asked God and I got on my knees and I prayed and I asked God to take the drug from me, and God took that drug from me. I prayed in tongues, and from that day on, I said I'm done, and I feel good about myself. You know, I'm not gonna ever go back to getting high. I made a promise to God. I made a promise to my baby, and all of that. Like, I made a promise to myself. That's what matters. That and yeah. Man, I end up store door. I had end up going into other stuff like tarot and all that stuff because I was trying to like, you know, use my gifts and stuff. And um, I wasn't on drugs or nothing. All of that, I wasn't doing none of that with the tarot and all of that. I was clean and all like that. But I was like, it's just like certain stuff, like just certain stuff be like testing my faith, and then people feel like my life. That don't mean that I can't, like, God don't love me and that I'm not protected. Because God seen the situation. God know my heart. God know my heart. And not everybody have to have paid karma for the stuff that they did. Everybody do. So, people just always coming down on me, but it is what it is. As long as God see my heart, yeah. As long as God see my heart and my baby, forgive me for not protecting her like I was supposed to. And, I see courting birds all the time and stuff like that. And yeah, I struggle with I struggle with my situation with my baby. From time to time, I grieve over that situation. I feel guilty, be feeling guilty a lot. However, God told me to move forward in my life. I can't continue to keep on dwelling on the past. I keep staying there. Then guess what? I'm not gonna heal. I'm not gonna heal at all. Period. And yeah, and I know people know that I'm not gonna. People know that they hurt, and I feel like that people know that that's what will keep me in a low vibration. If they come and start doing this to me about my kids and picking at me all the time about my kids or whatever, or me getting high and stuff like that. And for real, being honest, don't don't nobody for real. I don't for real know what happened. And I'm like at first I was feeling kind of like guilty, but I felt like God seen it, and I know that somebody tried to say I tried to sell my kids. Somebody said I tried to sacrifice my kid. Like no, I was getting high. I was going through a time in my life where I was hurting from them taking my kids, and I ended up turning to drugs, and I was battling with addiction. And I decided to, when I had my baby, that she was the one that stopped, like, made, like, she grabbed my heart to where I wanted to stop getting high when I seen my baby face. And once I started to start getting clean or whatever, she was, taken. She was taken from me. And, yeah, when I was trying to, do what I need to do. So it was like, it felt like I'm sitting here trying, God. I know you see me like I just made a promise to you or whatever. Like God, like literally, like convicted me, like literally convicted my whole heart. And God was like convicting me. Like God kept on convicting me. Like when I was like every time like when I had my like get high or something, I was like we shouldn't be doing this or something like that. Like yeah, I was fighting addiction, and I'm grateful that it ain't take for, and that's what like it ain't take for my baby to pass away while I was there getting like it was weird like it ain't like I was sitting there and I was getting high and then that's how my baby passed away. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like literally like God was like nudging on my heart like look at this baby like what if like you don't know if you can like I gave you her or whatever you don't know like I could take her from you any moment I could take her from you. And I'm like, oh God, forgive me. I'm like, that's when I started, like, God, please forgive me, this and that. And like, I made a way to leave the hotel. I called my sister that night. That night, I called my sister and was like, I'm done. Like, I feel bad or whatever about it. And you know, yeah, my baby was the reason why. And then, yeah, I still be like, literally, like I could see the side of her face because she was real like smart. Like she was so pretty and like intelligent. Like she was so pretty and like she knew how to like sit up, play with stuff or whatever. And yeah, she's my little baby, my little baby for real. So, yes, she just made mistakes for real. And I'm just getting on her because it was already I've been wanting to get on her for so long or whatever, and or whatever. However, I had talked to my friend or whatever about the situation or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, don't put that on. Don't get on there and say none of that stuff at first or whatever." But sometimes people be needing people to talk to sometimes, especially outside stuff, and then people be like I'm going through a certain situation with my daughter. They tried to, well, they took my daughter from me out here or whatever, and then they used that. They tried to, like, they tried to say, oh, one of your babies died or whatever. I'm like, yeah, one of my babies passed away, but I'm not like, I didn't kill my child. I didn't kill my daughter or none of that. You know, and when my baby, they like, oh, what about this and that? I'm like, my kids, they got on the record that my kids got taken from me because I was a crackhead. And I wasn't even on drugs when they took my kids. I got on drugs after they adopted my kids out. I got on drugs after the fact. And I didn't do nothing. It's just like, yeah, I got on, end up getting on drugs. They like, oh, she's a crackhead. Oh, what about this baby? Like, that if the devil makes stuff look real. The devil false evidence appearing to be real. The devil will make it look like something that it ain't. And people will be lying. Like people will sit there and knowing that, oh, all I gotta do is make a report. Cause somebody been attacking me since my oldest daughter. When I first had my first daughter, she was taken from me first. I had wasn't no drugs, none of that. I had a 3-bedroom house. And my kids was at, actually I had my own apartment. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. And my baby had her own room. I had my own room. And she had everything she needed. And then I got pregnant again with my son. Or whatever. And like, yeah. So, like people they trying to use that. Oh, well what about you used to get high? Like, okay, I used to get high, but notice like people don't even want to hear what. I know I make mistakes. Yeah, I did make a mistake. Yes, I have. We all have made mistakes. We all made mistakes. At least I took the steps and initiative to start doing better. When I seen something to do better for. People don't see that. You know, they just like, oh, this is what you, oh well, you admitted to getting high or whatever, so you a drug addict for the rest of your life. You can't have a kid around you, or stuff like that. Like, and in certain situations that happen, and I started seeing people in certain situations. God reveals stuff to me too. So, but we talking about me right now. We're not talking about what they do. You know, we'll talk about me because at least I took the initiative. God, you know my heart, and it just hurt because like when they took my daughter from me, it hurt it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm still sober. Like people like, oh, you getting high, ain't you? Because they think that I'm gonna go get high because you took my baby from me. No, I made a promise that I'm not gonna get high again. So I'll be here sad, depressed, and above, read my Bible, pray, and then whatever else God wants me to do. Huh? To help me get through, because like when they did that, like when I found my baby, I was literally like, when I found both of my babies, that like I had to end up having I had a heart attack because I was stressed out, and I asked God. That's why I was telling, I don't know who that was. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling somebody, I was like, God, I asked God to take me off this planet. I said, well, watch what you ask for, because God will give it to you. Because around the time I was hurt, I just buried a baby, and then that situation happened, and then they accusing me of it. It felt like it was a setup. And then people like, oh, you playing victim all the time. If I did something, I did it. No, some people can't. Like, I believe in God. I believe in God. And God will like let allow like all the stuff that I've been through. God would have been let me been gone because I didn't get poison, all type of stuff. Didn't happen. God saved me so many times. God see me, got poison, all of that, all of it. Going to the hospital, they trying to inject me with all types of stuff. And they try to use, oh, you just mentally crazy. Or what about the drug? Or what about this? Like, stop trying to use that. Because that's not no reason. Then when I ask them people to send me my records from the hospital, they gonna send me a record of some fake, something that came from St. Louis, that somebody faxed from St. Louis all over here. Telling some she a crackhead, she was pregnant, she was doing crack with all her babies and all that stuff lying straight through their teeth. I'm like, this hella fake. And then I got the lady picture up there who made the report and stuff. Which that's probably ain't even real. They probably didn't want it to look like it's somebody I don't know. You know? I'm just saying like that's the crazy part. They try to use this and that when you're not seeing that I have do have making a lot of people have made mistakes. I made mistakes. I'm one of the ones that chose to do right. It's just my baby passed away in the middle of me trying to be right for her. Nobody for my son. You know what I'm saying? Like they gave my son to my ex-husband. How they like they don't even make sense, and he dropped dirty for the courts for the kid. There's certain stuff like that, like everybody like this on me. Like, here you go. You could go smoke some crack or go you it's okay for go ahead. But we just nah. Like that's weird to me. It's kinda weird. Whatever. And there's like other stuff that I don't even want to get into. Whatever that's going on, we talking about that. Well, I didn't want because people always keep on bringing that up. That's what made me get on here because somebody, it's like 3 or 4 people then came to me about uh drugs when I didn't either didn't respond fast enough or they didn't get what they want. So they brung up my baby, or they brung up uh a habit that I had years ago, like probably like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. You know, don't matter. Like my niece, she told me, you gonna always be a crackhead. Don't nobody care what that means that you sober. What that mean that you sober right now? They don't mean nothing. You gonna always be a crackhead. I'm better than you. I pop my stuff. Look at my car, this and that. And I'm looking at her like, at, at least I took the step to do that. Cause some people don't even care. Some people still out here, and I ain't trying to talk about them. I'm just saying, just look at the situation. Like some people don't care. They don't. Still doing what they doing, but pointing the finger at me. I mean, like I gotta carry your burden. And usually when they say that when you accuse somebody, they could be confessing or whatever. But yeah, it was like 3 people, like 4 people that came to me on trying to like bring up drugs, stuff like that, cause I'm just in my own little world and stuff trying to get myself together so I can do what I need to do to get my baby back. And people see that and they wanna, what about crack? What about we dying? Or you just crazy? Or you just this? I'm not crazy. There's certain things that done went on that just because of that situation happened don't mean ain't nothing else happened. Cause this stuff was going on before I turned to drugs. Why I end up that was one of the reasons why I turned to drugs. To cope. To ignore it. When I had to learn how to cope with I had to learn. God delivered me and he started teaching me how to cope with my what's going on with me naturally cope with the pain, even though I didn't mention checked in the hospital many times for, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, I've been through already, like, my whole life, been through so much stuff since I was a kid or whatever, been through so much stuff to where I, I can't trust nobody. I can't trust nobody, like, when, especially when my baby passed away, my family and stuff, they supposed to been there for me. Instead, they like, that's why your baby died. You know, look, you lost your baby. You can't keep up with nothing. You know, or oh, you gonna always be a crackhead or something like that. And I understand, like, stated, like, my sister, used to get high, and she used to cry to me a lot, and she went through some stuff. But before I was getting high, my family was already treating me. They was acting like I was the state was acting like I was on drugs already. When I wasn't even on drugs. I would read my Bible and go to work and, take care of my kids and stuff and and all of that stuff. Like, I had a normal life. And then they just started ripping my kids for no reason for me. And they told me that it was because of I was in a relationship with my abuser, my ex-husband. That's why they took him. That's why they adopted them out, because I was with him. But then y'all, when it happened with my son, y'all take my son and then give my son to the one you said you was adopting my kids for. So what was the real reason? I'm just saying, like, that stuff y'all been picking on me since forever. And it's getting to the point like, oh, well, it's just certain stuff that people reveal to me too. You know, a lot of stuff that's been going on. But of course, they like stop trying to use that, because everybody's get high for, or not everybody, but people smoke weed. What's the difference smoking weed? People that's judges, police, they smoke crack, fentanyl, all of that stuff. They doing that stuff. I used to, yeah. Well, at least I took the initiative. So when I see my baby face and God convicted me, I repented and I asked God to forgive me, and I started trying to do the right thing, and everything started getting thrown on me. Started getting thrown on me. Or whatever. And God was like, I can't use you if you gonna be getting high or drinking too. God was like, I can't use you if you doing that. I can't. I gave you gifts. God told me, and I do have gifts. I dream dreams. I um I dream dreams. I asked God for uh I prayed, and God give me. I asked God for messages through my Bible, and like they come together, you know, and stuff like that, and whatever else comes I have. I pray to God, all the time. And I'm still learning. Like, I didn't even get the chance to even learn who I was, being honest. I've been through so much stuff. I'm just paying attention to that. Like, it took me some years to even learn me. It took me years to learn who I was. I didn't even know who I was. I was always, even when I did have a habit, I was still making sure that everybody was okay. I was still making sure everybody was okay, and that stuff, it didn't hurt me when I started saying, like, dang, hold on. Like, dang, that's crazy. That started, that started hurting me or whatever when I had started saying that my family and stuff, it didn't care me getting high, because people keep on trying to use that. That's why I'm on here, because people text messages and stuff to my phone harassing me, talking about oh, you smoking crack right now, or you doing this, or that's why your baby, like, literally targeting me, and I'm not even doing anything wrong. So that's why I want to get on her and share that, because people continuously keep on pointing, like keep on bothering me and stuff. Like I'm talking about something totally different. We talking about the future, this present moment or the future. You steady throwing up something when I'm not doing that to you. I'm not doing that to you. Or you. I'm not. And then I can admit my wrongs. Because that's the first step of healing and changing who you were. As a, not because, yeah, change who you were because you want to change. And you want better. And you want better. And stuff. And I feel like a certain way. And not because of other people. I feel a certain way because of the things I have done wrong in my life. And this world is coming to an end. And yeah, the world coming to an end and stuff. And God literally trying to get a lot of people. God get my, even with the terror, God literally got my attention. Like, um, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like I had one day I opened up the Bible, and it had landed on a verse, and it said that uh that's abomin that's like a sin, like you going against God, like you searching and going reaching to an unknown source. And like he revealed to me in dream, he had revealed to me in a dream. My grandmother came to me in a dream, because when growing up, I used to see, and that's one reason why they tried to use that too. They like, oh, your mental, because I was a kid, and I told them what happened to me. I was a kid, so if I go to a hospital, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. And so they end up putting me in the mental hospital for that, and they still use it to this day. And whatever. So yeah, that's why I want to get on here. Cause when people keep on just steady poking at me, so let me get on here and tell the story. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my past, and I did things wrong, and I'm taking initiative to change, which I was been taking initiative to change. People just ain't want me to do so, and it ain't what you want. It's my life, not what you want. It don't matter how hard you try to do this to me, and whatever you want to do, it don't matter. Oh well, that's just if you wanna. I don't know. I ain't know what to say about that, but as long as God see me moving forward in my life, and I'm doing what God tell me to do and pleasing God, that's what matters the most in my kids. And 9 out of 10, they don't even, I can't see none of my kids. So I still love them. End of the day, why other people get to see my my other kids, the ones that got adopted. I I can't see them. And then my oldest two kids, they with they dad, and he got me on child. He got me on child support. Like what the heck? Like how you got to do like something? Oh, you on child support? Like if you need something, I try to get it if I can. Well, And he got me on child support, and then he keep my kids away from me. Like that's weird. I was like, oh you a deadbeat this and that. I'm a deadbeat when I be asking you to bring my kids to me and stuff. Oh, you get out. Nigga, we not gonna get on what you do. But everybody pointing the finger at me. Everybody's on like this. But I still don't. That's why God be letting things like happen and stuff and be revealing stuff. Because you wrong for that. He wrong for that. He wrong for that. But people like to pay to get back because no, they gotta up. They try to use that. They gotta try to use it as a dangle it over my head like I want your kids. You can't have your kids. Because you because I didn't left the relationship or something when you wanted to be with me and I didn't want to be in that relationship because of some other stuff that happened and didn't have nothing to do with drugs. And I didn't even know what drugs looked like. A whole nother situation happened and I didn't want to go through that. And that's personal, more personal happened. So, and I left, and now he got my kids and my two oldest, and he want to put me on child support and all of this stuff. And I can't talk to. I try to call and talk to my kids, and he like, nah, you can't talk to the kids. You gotta send me money first. Like, why you charging me to talk to my kids? When I had my kids, I didn't charge you. And a messed up situation happened between me and him and our kids. Well, it's always I'm always the one that get targeted. And then when I do say something about it, oh, yeah, you're crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm telling you, I'm talking about. I'm speaking up for myself. What I went through all these years. I'm speaking on what y'all continue to do to me. And I used to hurt myself because of that. Hurt myself. Oh, they hurt me, so I'm gonna go ahead and hurt me. I ain't gonna care about myself. That's how I used to feel. Like they don't love me, and then God started saying, "I love you." God started saying, "I love you," and when I felt the God love or whatever, that's when I'm like, I wasn't really sad or nothing no more. I mean, I'm sad, but I wasn't like, oh, my mama don't love me or my dad, like little stuff like that. But I wasn't like when yeah, when I started walking with God, more closer to God, God started revealing stuff to me. I'm probably loud. Well, God started revealing a whole bunch of stuff to me. I'm probably yellow. They probably hear my whole thing video. But yeah, God started revealing stuff to me or whatever, cause I didn't, I'm like, why am I going through all of this? Like, I even felt like God, what I'm saying, didn't love me. Like, why you let all this stuff happen to me and this and that? I feel like I messed up with God and stuff too. And God said, nah, I love you. So, that's what it is. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. How you doing?